Okay, so we got another DC Direct Mcfarlane Toys Page Punchers unboxing. These are the larger page punchers, not little teeny tiny ones. And this is Green Arrow Injustice 2 comic. So we can see Green Arrow in the package there, and they have released this Green Arrow figure before, but there's one new difference. He's got a new hat. So yeah. So yeah, if you already bought the other one with the unhatted head, this one's pretty much the same figure, I believe, except for it has a hat. I did not buy that other figure, and I prefer for Green Arrow to have a hat. So this worked out well for me. Uh, it also comes with this Injustice 2 comic, which is in English, which is good for me because that's the language that I speak. And it's pretty much the same type of packaging we've seen on these Page Punchers figures before, so we don't need to go into too much detail on it. But there's the Injustice 2 cover, because I don't think I've opened one of these Injustice ones yet. I do have Dr. Fate from this video game, and I believe they just put out the Superman figure, the Batman figure, not Superman. And they do, hopefully, will have the Supergirl figure out, because it seems to me like, if you put her front and center on the cover, maybe she should get an action figure. I'm just saying. I would like to have that Supergirl figure. I think that's a pretty neat outfit that they have her in there. Like, I would rather have, comic book costumes than video game costumes. But, I don't think they've done a comic book Green Arrow yet. I know they did Arrow from the TV show. And, they did, like I said, they did this one already without a hat. But I'll go ahead and take him with the hat. At least that's somewhat close to the Neil Adams design that I like, because he's got a hat. But there's going to be some differences. This is going to be a video where I nitpick a bit, but don't think that it means I'm being negative towards this action figure in necessarily. I did like him well enough to buy him after all, but there are certain things that I am gonna nitpick. It's just gonna happen. And go ahead and take out the. This is all flopping around loose in here on the biggest piece of tape I've ever seen to hold in something so small. It's like two pieces of tape stuck together, actually. But I don't want that all dangling around, so I'm gonna try to tape that onto the inside of the tray as best I can. There we go. Alright, so then we can see the action figure a little better. And accessories he comes with, of course, is the standard figure stand. Every action figure should come with a figure stand. He comes with this trading card. Voila. Let's go ahead and have a look at that. It looks like it's packed really tightly into this package. See where the seal is? So I'm going to try to open this without damaging the card. I really wish they just wouldn't seal these at all. Just have them in an unsealed bag that's like taped at the top or something. Because I always feel like I'm going to mess up the card anytime I do this. And while I'm not like a big collector of trading cards, it is something that came with the figure, and I want to try to keep it in nice shape. Not have too much boxing or bent corners or anything like that. But I'm afraid I'll scratch it up with the X-Acto knife or pull it on the corner of the plastic too hard and dent up the corner of the card or something like that. And there's a piece of tape holding it in there anyway, so just, just tape the bag closed. Then I can open it much more simply. Then I can cut the tape, that'll be easier. I always say that I like the artwork better than having pictures of the action figure that I already bought. But in this case, I think that this would be something like the, with the Black Adam. Like I said, I haven't seen the other figures in this wave, but if it's like the Black Adam cards, they'll all be pictures of this same cover. And I think that's worse, because now all my trading cards look exactly the same, and just the back is different. So it says, Page Punchers, Green Arrow, real name Oliver Queen. It's been a hard-traveled road for the Emerald Archer, as this Earth's Oliver Queen gave his life in the fight against the regime. Now, as an alternate Earth's Ollie steps in to honor that sacrifice, he will join his wife, Black Canary, in Batman's crusade to set things right. Alright. So, I did not really play the Injustice video game all that much. I played it a little bit. You know, it's a fighting game. It's fun. But I did read the Injustice comic book, and I liked that for what it was. So, being like some kind of alternate universe dystopia. But it seems like all DC knows how to do anymore is alternate universe dystopia, so I'm getting kind of sick of them. Can they take it any further than the Batman who laughs? Like, honestly. I don't really care about that character either. If I wanted to read Hellblazer comics, there's plenty of, like, those Marvel Razorline comics from the 90s that are still in quarter bins. I don't need to read a comic book where Batman is cosplaying as a Cenobite. Alright, so here's his quiver. That's pretty cool looking. You see he's got, like, a neat little arrowhead design in there. Some details on the sides. It's a big oblong quiver that reminds me a lot of how Neil Adams designed his. And I held up the bow, but I didn't say anything about it. Unfortunately, the string is kind of warped. That's just going to happen with plastic strings on bows. You know, I've tried to kind of bend it back into shape with my fingers, but it's still won't stay that way. Maybe I'll try to hit it with a hairdryer later. Maybe that'll help. And then we've got a bundle of arrows to stick in the quiver. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And all of these are molded in the same kind of oliver green. so yeah, they all match. And then Green Arrow himself, he's got the damnable plastic tabs holding him in here. So I'll try to cut these as best I can, hopefully without scratching up the figure or anything. There we go. One more there. One at each ankle, deep within the package. And see, if this is a rubber band, I can just turn it around and cut it on the other side, but I can't do it because these stupid plastic tabs. Poke the whole thing out. Ugh, how annoying. There we go. You know, if you want to have him posed in such a dramatic way, where his ankles are all the way back in the back of the package, don't put the rubber band around his ankles. These rubber bands at all. I hate them. But it seems kind of obvious to me. I don't know why. It's just such a pain. Oh, it's such a pain. First world problems, am I right? Alright, so now that I got that out of there, I'm just going to put this back in the box real quick. We can talk a little bit while we do that. So, my favorite design for Green Arrow is the Neil Adams design from the 70s. I also like the Longbow Hunters design from the 80s, but I'm much more of a fan of the cap than the hood, so the Neil Adams one is my favorite. I like the way the cap gives him like this jaunty, swashbuckling kind of feel, whereas the hood just seems like they're just trying to make him all grim and gritty now, and I don't really care about that with Green Arrow. I think Green Arrow should be more of a fun character. So, he can be grim and gritty. You can do stories like that with him, obviously. Some of the best Green Arrow stories have some grim and some grit to them. In fact, the Longbow Hunters is one of the best Green Arrow comics. But the character himself, I kind of feel like, you know, he was inspired by Robin Hood, so he should always have sort of that Robin Hood inspiration. So there we get a good look at his head sculpt with the cap. He's got 2 feathers in his hat. Maybe Ollie's kind of compensating for something. But one of them was like completely bent in and flush with the top of his head with the hat. I'm going to try to hit that with a hairdryer and see if I can get those to stick out a little bit more. So, Oliver originally started out as kind of a knockoff of Batman in the 1940s comics. So I guess Two Feathers in the Hat is him again trying to be more like Batman with the bat ears. So he's just got two feathers in his hat. But yeah, when Neil Adams came into DC in the later part of the 60s, the early part of the 70s, he completely redesigned the character. And Denny O'Neil wrote a storyline where Oliver Queen went broke and lost all his money and, became more of a social crusader. So then he was obviously a bit different from Batman at that point. So that's good. He became kind of more of a unique character in his own. You know what? I don't think these are the same exact shade of green like I thought they were. The arrow and the bow and the quiver are, but I think the arrow is slightly darker. I don't know if it's intended to be the same color. If maybe it's just a trick of the shadow or the lighting or whatever. Yeah, they might be the same color. I don't know. They're pretty close to the same color. So let's go ahead and put the quiver on his back. And since he's probably going to reach back to grab the arrows from that direction, I'm going to tilt the arrows over there. And we'll go ahead and put the bow in his hand, see how well that fits. Sometimes the Mcfarlane accessories I found, kind of annoyingly, is that the hands are more rigid than the accessories. So it's like trying to fit a noodle in there or something. But in this case, the hands are fairly soft. The bow isn't too soft. It's soft enough, obviously a little bit. See, because it's a bow. But I don't think it's actually more rigid than the hands this time, so I was able to get in there fairly easily. I don't know about these shoulder pieces. They seem like they're going to get bent up fairly easily because they're kind of, pointy, almost crescent moon shaped. So they're probably going to get kind of warped however you have him posed on your shelf. His mask is huge. Like, I'm used to Oliver having like a smaller sort of mask that just barely goes around his eyes. This one takes up like his entire forehead all the way up to the top of the mask. And they did a really good job with his facial hair. Like, he's got like this really Robin Hood looking facial hair with like the handlebar mustache like my Uncle Ken used to have. And like a pointy goatee. So, more modern, younger people might look at him and think that he's a hipster, but no, he's just supposed to look like Robin Hood. This is not a bad costume. I like some of the ideas that it put forth into it. I do like the Neil Adams costume, like I said, the best, but this obviously takes some cues from the Neil Adams costume. I think one of the things I would have done differently is not incorporate the lighter green into the rest of his vest here. I would have just had the lighter green up towards the collar, and that would have made it look a little more like that. This kind of flap or armor piece or whatever it is, that's kind of interesting. I kind of like that. He's got like a Green Arrow emblem on his chest, which he's never had before. Usually he's just had a Green Arrow emblem at his buckle, if anything. So that's kind of new. I kind of like that. I think that's pretty cool. And of course, that is the newer design of the Green Arrow emblem, where like originally it was just kind of oval shaped and went on his belt buckle, which is like almost like a Green Bay Packers belt buckle that he kind of repurposed. So, but this one they had kind of a clever idea, which was to incorporate a G into an arrowhead shape. So Green Arrow, that works, right? So I really like the head sculpt. I think it might have actually worked better with just plain white eyes, considering how huge this mask is. But again, this is based off a video game, so they were trying to make him look more, realistic. Not just realistic, like the way I usually say that, like in terms of like, oh, well, he shouldn't look like a comic book character. That'd be absurd. We'll make him realistic, and that means boring. See The Batman, for example. I'm just gonna rag on that movie every chance I get. I'd seen somebody the other day. I think it was Sil Abdul. I think I was watching one of his videos, and he was saying, I don't rag on the Batman every single. I did my review and I was done. I'm not gonna rag on it every single day because I'm an adult, and I'm like, I'm gonna rag on it every single day because it's fun. Maybe I'm not an adult. This video has nothing to do with that movie, and I'm still ragging on it. Uh, but yeah, the Neil Adams costume is my favorite. And this, while it's different, it does have a lot of homages to it. Obviously, the gloves are designed with the armbands to be a little, closer to how Neil drew those. One thing that I would have done differently as far as this design goes is he's got black pants, and I think I would have given him green pants instead. I would just all green outfit. Everything is green. Like maybe the boots could be black. I don't know. But even then, like I kind of figure, like you know, like this is probably about the exact color I would make his vest, where it's that darker sort of green. And then the pants I would probably make like more like an emerald sort of green, and then have the lighter green at the collar and at the belt. That's another thing that bugs me about this one. He doesn't have a proper belt. He's got a belt buckle on his armor, but it doesn't actually have a belt that goes all the way around. It's got like a nice shirt tail that comes down. So like it's like a jerkin, but it's not like actually a jerkin. It's like, I don't know, like armored jerkin of some kind. They always want to put the superheroes in armor these days. Back in my days, superheroes just didn't get shot. But yeah, like I look at this and I see Green Arrow. He's got like a lot of the elements that I remember about the character when I was a kid that I liked. He's got that Robin Hood thing going on with the hat. He's got the cool Neil Adams inspired quiver and the Neil Adams inspired gloves, and like just enough modern touches to make him like look like a more modern character. But he's still got plenty of the old swashbuckling feel that I like in Green Arrow, and I'm happy to have this guy as to represent the character until they actually do like a Neil Adams type Green Arrow, which maybe they'll do one of these days. I think it would be nice, since he passed away recently, uh, if Mcfarlane considered doing a wave of Neil Adams figures with some of his best DC characters and sculpted in his style. So obviously Batman would have to be one, and Deadman would be another, and you need a villain for the line. So why not Ra's al Ghul? Because he's probably like the best Batman villain that Adams had a hand in creating, and Green Arrow to round it out as the fourth figure, and do the Green Arrow in the Neil Adams costume that I'm talking about. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and make it like a Build-A-Figure wave and have that be Man-Bat. So we get one more great Neil Adams character in there. Take it even further. Do it with other artists. Do Jim Aparo, or do I think they're already doing Jim Lee Hush type figures, but they did Jason Fabok with the Three Jokers, and that was awesome. So I'd like to see them do some other artists too. Video game figures are fine, especially when it works out as well as this one and the Catwoman one. But it's all about the comics for me, man. That's where it started, and they're always going to be like, to me, the core of even after they stop publishing comics, which I don't know if DC Comics publishing is long for this world at this point, unfortunately. But even then, like the comics that they came from, the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, the post-crisis era, that's always going to be at the root and the soul of these characters. So I just don't want to see them forgotten, man. I'm fine with video game type characters, and I'm fine with movie type characters, but I still want a comic book style Green Arrow eventually. So that's pretty much it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this figure. Let me know what you think about Green Arrow in general. I really like this figure. I'm pretty happy with it. I still hope to see a Neil Adams type Green Arrow. Hell, I hope to see a Mike Grell type Green Arrow in that Longbow Hunter's outfit I was talking about. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.